Welcome to another episode of the Dynamic Chiropractic Podcast. Joining me today is none other than Dr. Robin Cassidy. So today, thank you for taking your time out today to join us. I really appreciate it. Can't wait to get this going and pick your brain for all the knowledge and experience that you have up there. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jack. Thank you for having me on. I'm really excited.
Thank you. So Rob, just to give people, obviously, the listeners a bit of background about yourself, do you mind introducing yourself, how you got into chiropractic, and go from there?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Dr. Robin. I come from a small island south of England called Jersey. Not many people know about it, but it's just a small little tax haven south of England. I was born there, grew up there, and I went to school there, pretty normal childhood. And then when I was sort of 17, I was looking around for things to do. Both my parents were dentists, so I kind of wanted to do something in the healthcare field. And I looked at being a GP, and it just wasn't for me. Then I looked at being a physio, and that sounded pretty good because I got to work with my hands and I can kind of be healthcare. And then I found chiropractic almost random, almost by chance, at a careers fair where there was a guy called Dr. Tom at Human Health. Tom Faulkner, absolute legend, been a mentor of mine for many years. And he was advertising AECC, the Chiropractic College in Bournemouth, at a careers fair. And he basically he sold it to me, man. It was great. He said, yep, a little bit about chiropractic, get to work similarly with a physio, but can be your own businessman and do your own things. And that was the basic introduction that I had. And that was already enough. I was like, yeah, I just really liked Tom as a person. He connected really well with me, and my mum was there at the same time, who's now been a patient of his for like, I don't know, 8 years. Goes all the time. She loves it. So thank you, Tom, for looking after my mum all that time. It's great. Then signed up as a chiropractor. Didn't really think that much of it. Went to university in Bournemouth, AECC, and it was only until my second year when I started to take it really seriously. I won't get into the details, but I basically had a near-death experience around my second year, summer of second year, I think, or maybe the summer of first year. Anyway, thereafter I started taking not just chiropractic, but my life really seriously. And then I was one of those people. I just went to one conference. It was called the Insight Club conference, the BACS conference, actually, British Association of Chiropractic Students, which was run by the Insight Club, which was like the ACC version of getting external speakers to come and give talks to chiropractic students. Went to that, exposed to it was amazing. Exposed to like 20 chiropractors from all over the world. And since then, it was like boom, just scheduled in like every seminar and conference I could do, like pretty much every weekend or so. I was off doing a conference or a seminar for like 4 years whilst I was a student. And absolutely loved it and haven't looked back. And I've just loved the journey, loved being a chiropractor. And that's it. Here we are, like 7 or 8 years later.
Awesome, man. I love that. That's one hell of a journey. So one thing I wanted to ask is obviously throughout your 7 to 8 years, in regards to your philosophy, how did it start and how has it developed to where you are now?
That's a great question. So it's definitely developed a lot. I sort of got the big picture of it quite early on. I realized that it was different to physio. It was different to the medical system as a whole. But I couldn't really understand why. I couldn't explain why it was, but I just knew it was different. So that's sort of why it attracted me, the whole basically doing stuff that we weren't being taught in school. That sort of resonated with me a lot more. And I didn't really understand why at the beginning. And I would just go to all the seminars and the conferences and hear and just digest and process loads of stuff that loads of different chiropractors were speaking and saying and practicing. And then in my first year as practice, after I graduated, I took up the ACP course, Academy of Chiropractic Philosophers, run by Sherman College. They would come over to Europe and do like 5 seminars in the year on chiropractic philosophy. But long story short, like it was cut in half because of COVID, and then it was delayed, and the US couldn't come over here, and we couldn't go over there, etc. So I didn't finish the course. The course sort of was abandoned sort of halfway through. But that gave me enough insight and studying of reading the green books and reading the different all the different parts and like writing about it. And like we were supposed to write a big thesis on it. I had sort of compiled a bit of it. So I was sort of reading around and compiling my thesis and then stopped doing it because the course discontinued. So for me, I'm very much, I'm quite a straight chiropractor, I would say. I love the 33 principles. I think they're amazing. I practice like to them. I'm not like super hardcore, like if I don't do this, then therefore I'm this. But I do practice in a very principled manner, I would say.
Cool. I love that. That's awesome. Another chiropractor. Oh no, I'm gonna forget his name now. Who's very strong with their principles is I'm gonna have to try and I don't want to butcher
UK?
his name. Sorry.
In the UK? Europe?
I know American. No, Canadian. I think Peter Amlinger.
Okay. I
Like
should know.
yeah, really strong with his with the 33 principles. So I definitely advise looking into him. He's very much in touch with sort of like, you know, innate and also universal intelligence as well, which is great. So um another question I wanted to ask you is, obviously, I don't know, obviously people who are going to be listening to this, those who know of you, you practice on animals as well. What was the journey like from, because obviously I'm guessing the journey is from people to animals. What led you to work with animals as well as people?
Great question. And I love working with animals. It's great. It's really, you can really see like the expression of what chiropractic is with animals because there's no bullshit around it. Excuse my French.
No, no.
There's no like extra psychological bias or anything going on that you might be exposed to in humans. Um, to horses and cats especially. It's just so obvious. It's like you just adjust the horse and it's better. It moves better. It walks better. Its eyes are different. It's more loving. It's like it's amazing. You can really give like an undeniable experience to a horse much more easily than a human, in my opinion. Anyway, how did I find that? There was a course at AACC called the International Academy of Veterinary Chiropractors. It's like a postgraduate conversion course that's open to both veterinarians and chiropractors to study veterinary chiropractic. So it's a postgrad qualification. I managed to get myself in to do it I was in my 4th year, 4 out of 5. So I actually qualified as a veterinary chiropractor before graduating. Technically, it was like a technical. I didn't actually receive the qualification, but like I had the skills to be able to adjust horses and dogs and cats before I'd actually graduated. So I've been doing that for the past few years. But to be honest with you, at the beginning, when I first signed up for it, I wasn't really a horsey person. I'd done a bit of work with horses in the past, and my mum was into horses when she was younger, but I've never owned my own horse. I can ride a horse a bit, but I'm not very good. Still not very good. And but at that stage, I was so addicted to like professional development. I was wanting to do every seminar under the sun. I was like, oh my God, I can adjust horses and dogs. Sign me up. So I just I took a loan for the course and I invested in the course and freaking loved it and just did that course over like 5 months whilst I was in my second to last year of university, whilst I was in clinic. And just loved it. I haven't looked back since.
Awesome, man. What's it like? Obviously, I know you said about the immediate sort of changes which you see in a horse and cats, etc. What's it actually like adjusting an animal? Because obviously, I can only imagine it's completely different to adjusting a human being. Obviously, you know, you explain what you're going to do before you do it. Obviously, obviously, you can't do that with an animal. So, what's the approach that you take?
That is also a great question. I suppose it's very body language intensive. So I'm not asking the horse with words, but I am asking the horse with my body language and how I approach it. And what I've definitely noticed is, I don't know if you've done much of like syntropy seminars. Do you know those guys?
Yeah, I've heard of, yeah, I definitely want to jump on their courses at some point in the future.
They're so good courses. Well, one of the things they teach is like being really present and dropped in with all of your adjusting. And I couldn't agree more. I think it's such a fundamental skill and principle that we need to hold is not just as chiropractors, but in any profession. Like if you can drop in and be present with what you're doing, the person or animal that you're with at that time, that can really elevate so many things. And so
Absolutely.
what I learned with adjusting animals is that key about being dropped in and being present is so much more important with animals, and they can feel it way more than us humans.
Wow.
So just like if you might be in practice with humans and you're thinking about what you're gonna have for dinner or whatever's going through your mind, the person might think of it, but you might get away with it because there's music on and you can hear the CA in the background, or you're having a joke with the patient, whatever it is. But with a horse, especially a horse that's in pain, if you're not like right there with them, they won't respond as well, or they won't let you do things. It's weird when you're really present with them and you're just concentrating doing what you're doing and you're going with intention. Like I'm here to help you, for example, it's just like something I like to hold in my mind whilst I'm present with the horses. They can sort of hear it, understand it, listen to it. So that's how I would communicate with them. It's very much body language, being present, dropped in with good intentions. And then actually like making a thrust is just the same now. You just make the input and then you let the body takes that and innate intelligence does what it will. And
Awesome.
that's it. It gets on with it.
I love that. That's awesome. Have you ever encountered like a negative reaction, like as a animal ever after you've adjusted them? Have they ever kind of had a bit of an outburst? Have you ever experienced that at all working with
Oh
animals?
yeah. Yeah, I've had
Okay.
I haven't been
God.
bit by, I haven't been bit by a dog, but they do
Yeah.
kind of snap. They'll like
Right, okay.
just like sometimes you might adjust. Let's say you just a lady from Sardinia, south of Italy, and the Italians in the audience may know what I'm talking about, but they can be very loud when you adjust them, not because they're in pain or because it hurts or whatever. They just make noise naturally.
Right.
Um, and sometimes that can be the same with animals. They make noise, or they'll look at you weirdly, or they'll snap their teeth. So sometimes it might look negative because the dog has yelped. Sometimes that is because it is painful, but
Of course, yeah.
sometimes it's not, and then they're absolutely fine and love it and like lick your face afterwards or whatever. They're really happy.
Nice.
Um, Sometimes horses, they've never bucked, but they kind of jump or they'll pin their ears back, which means they're not really happy or it
Right.
hurts sometimes. But I've never had a serious thing where like where an animal has actively like attacked me or been aggressive. They've just been like almost shocked or a little bit in pain sometimes.
Yeah, I can see obviously they're probably just taken by surprise, and like you said, if they're in a bit of shock and there is discomfort or pain, then yeah, naturally they're gonna have a little snap. But I'm glad there's been no sort of injury to yourself. That's always good to hear. But I really liked where you were going with the intention part, and like people always say, I think animals have a very strong sort of innate intelligence, and they are very wary of people, and they're very good at reading people as well. There's almost that level of, oh, I don't know whether to sort of trust you or not, and I think it's the same going in with um, with people as well. But where did you start to incorporate that intention? Like what brought you around to being actually, I need to drop in and be present with them? Like how did you learn that? How did you develop that as a skill?
Yeah, I would say it happened all around the same time, so I'm not sure which one came first, but somewhere in my third or fourth year of university, I was getting into meditation, um, and I was doing lots of centrifugal seminars. And in the centrifugal seminars, I've done all of them, by the way, centrifugal seminars. Dr. Aaron and Pat, love you guys. I'm Michelle. But those three are incredible human beings. They put on a really, really good seminar. And in that, it's not just technique. It's not just like, oh yeah, push this bone in this direction, and that's how you adjust someone. It's like the whole thing from start to finish. Be, do, have the whole shebang. And they incorporate a lot of the drop in and the meditation and being present and how to like techniques and exercises of how to develop and hone that skill. They advocate that, show you how to do it, and then you learn it as you practice centrically. So how I developed that skill of dropping in and being present with good intention, at least in some large part, was through the training that I did with the Syntropy guys.
Yeah, nice. I like that.
That also
And
also led me down the rabbit hole of reading and exploring other areas. Like Joe Dispenza, absolutely love the guy and all of his work. Loads of things, loads of different kind of meditation. Dr. John DeMartini, I love a lot of his work as well.
nice, yeah.
Yeah, I'm really into the intent. Even like books by Napoleon Hill, written like nearly 100 years ago, Think and Grow Rich,
Yeah, yeah.
intention. Like, yeah, I
Nice.
love
I
it.
like it. You're dropping some absolute knowledge bombs here, and I'm trying to keep up with it. Just write it down. I'm probably gonna have to go back over the audio of this and make sure that everyone gets all the information properly in a little summary. I really like that. So, if in regards for people who want to look more into dropping in, being present, being aware, uh, having a very strong intention. Is it primarily Syntropy, or would you advise them to look elsewhere as well?
Do you hear that, Jack? Can you hear that sound?
What's uh yeah, what's that?
Jack, that's the present.
Oh, so I thought you had me on then.
No, I'm serious. So people
Okay.
they don't like as much as sympathy and all these seminars and all the meditation, all the books is good for you to help to learn. Sorry to put you on that spot there. That was
No, it's cool, it's cool.
it's a thing. It's you can just like by being present in your body, taking a breath, listening around to you, feeling your breath in your chest or in your tummy or whatever, and just be present. You don't have to learn how to be present. We all just be, and it's it's actually hard to explain. This is probably why there's been loads of books written on it. But my first thing would be like just go into your body, feel the sensations of your body in the moment, and you can. The easiest way to do that is using the breath. So how you breathe. Then you've got ways that you can train that. So you can do certain types of meditation, particularly breath work. Things like Wim Hof has a really easy to understand method of how to do that. And if you want to sort of apply that to chiropractic, obviously you take Wim Hof stuff and you be present whilst you adjust. If you want to apply it further and like hone those skills into how to do that with a patient with intention, then a seminar like Syntropy is really good. I know that I think MLS might do it, and KTC, Kairos Training Culture, they probably do some as well. But for me, I learned that, like, I learned everything I needed. Well, there's way more to learn, of course. But Syntropy is really good. They're really good teachers, Aaron and Pat. Is what I've learned. I learn the best from them. I've done all the seminars, all of them, love them all. But Aaron and Pat, hands down, have been the best actual teachers of their knowledge.
I like that. I mean, you summarized earlier, or just a minute ago, you said just be, and that just instantly clicked. That just it makes so much sense. Just be. It's just, it's
Good.
being aware and just. I love that.
You're
Yeah, I'm
halfway
gonna
there.
have to.
More than halfway there. You get it.
Yeah, there we go.
You don't
I
need
love
the whole
that.
book to explain it, but maybe you do. Maybe some people do. I don't know. To explore it.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I guess that's why there's so many books that have been written on it as well, and why there's so much information out there, which makes sense. So, sort of stemming from the education, the philosophy, and the technique part, one thing I wanted to talk to you about was also business as well. So, from a business perspective, obviously, you run your own place, which is great. And how long have you been in your clinic for now?
I opened up Inflow just at the turn of 2021, so literally mid second lockdown. Let's say I was when it opened. So that's what 2 years in a month. That's how
Yeah,
long I've been running
nice.
my practice.
Congratulations, man. I love that.
It's great. I love it. It's yeah.
And being sort of, because you're a solo worker, is that correct?
Yeah, solo doc.
Yeah.
I actually got, I think you might be going to say, but I got a lot of my like how-tos from, again, Syntropy, those guys. And they run a
Yeah.
seminar called, well, they used to at least called Mastery. It's like a 4-day business one. I love that. It just teaches the sort of the easy, low overhead solo doc model, which I really enjoy. It's really chilled. That's where I got a big chunk of it. But then just things that I've learned over the years from all the seminars and books I've read. So I might have
Nice.
interrupted when you got to ask a question.
That's what I was going to ask you. How's that journey been from? So I guess previously you've worked with other chiropractors and other clinics. So how has it been, sort of going solo and working on your own? Like, how has that worked out for you?
Great. Um, it's been massive, massive learning experience. Um, Way more than any freaking seminar, book, or personal growth, whatever, has just been opening the business and getting on with it, figuring it out, and making mistakes, making failures, trying to pay the bills, trying to get new patients, doing all the things that happen in the background when you're an associate. Just learning how to do that, not just it just gave me so many personal and professional skills and network people that you end up meeting that become patients, become friends, become colleagues, all of these things. So the journey for me, what I've learned about myself in the 27 years of this earth is that I'm quite a sovereign person. I'm classical, man. I don't really like being told what to do. I'm a rebel. I was always in trouble in school for something. I got trouble at AACC for even like doing things like the inside club. Like I would
Yeah.
always find a way I would always have a problem with authority. Okay. I said it. For some reason, authority
Mhm.
just didn't work very well with me. And as I had technically three bosses after I left university. So I had three jobs where I was there for like between 1 and 6 months, um, where I had really fantastic mentors that really knew what they were doing and really knew how to like get their knowledge across. But I just wouldn't have it, man. I was just terrible. I was just not coachable, I think, in many aspects. In others, I was, but in some, I just wanted to do it myself. I was just that
Yeah.
kind of character trait was really expressive at that point.
Nice.
And then when COVID happened and I was furloughed, I just had lots of time to think about what I wanted and what I could do and what I couldn't do and how that might look. Um, and I remember it very clearly. I had a call with Dr. Christian Caswell. You may know him, he's in the UK.
I've heard the name, yeah.
He's incredible, man. His chiropractic principles, literally, I don't know anyone around in our sort of age group, let's say, that has better understanding of chiropractic philosophy. He's incredible. Anyway, he also opened his business quite early in his career and just sort of gave me a book on the phone. And he just basically said, well, all of these, he was comparing the pros and cons of being an associate and being a business owner. He's like, yeah, he basically just asked me a few questions and then was like, so why don't you just start your own? And I was like, yeah, you're right, Christian. You're absolutely right. That's valid. And I just did it. And then I realized after I'd set it up, like 6 months later, doing all the website and finding a place to rent and then doing the place up and doing all the things and then opening the doors, I was like, right, what do I do? What do I do now? I had no idea how to get patients in. I had no idea about anything, man. I was an idiot in many ways. But it was like sort of sink or swim. And I love that. So although like I had no person saying you must do this, you must do that, I now had like shitloads of responsibility that if I did not do this and did not do that, then I
Yeah.
was not going to eat that month. So I had to. So I just swapped one authority for another, really. As Dr. John D. Martini says, you just sort of transfer the energy, it just changes form. So anyway, I figured it out. I did lots of coaching. I've done lots of stuff with Dr. Ryan Ryder.
Mm,
I've done things with Dr. Tom Waller. He was my coach. Thank God he was
nice.
my coach. For like the first year or so of my practice, I learned so much with him.
Mm,
He's shit hot, man. He really knows his stuff. He's really expanded now, making it a lot more accessible actually.
mm,
So I've got lots of one-on-one coaching. We've got Tom. I did stuff with Ryan Ryder. I was reading loads of books, especially John DiMartino. I was doing his seminars, and just I was doing a lot of BNI networking, and that just
okay.
helps you speak about what you do to like a normal person, how to a business person. Like it's really easy for us to chat about green books and principles and philosophy and stuff, but like as you probably know, like most people that's like goes way over their head.
Yeah.
Um, so
Absolutely.
doing BNI not only like allowed me to generate business and generate referrals and generate patients, it also
Mm,
allowed me how to communicate what I do to normal people, which is a skill that everyone needs to hone, I think. Um,
absolutely.
and so now, yeah, I love the business. I'm still a solo doc. I don't have any CAs. I have a team in the background that do my bookings. I block with patients. I show up, I give my best, I drop in. I love my patients. It's very community based, which I've learned how to do that with Tom Waller. Got a really good community based sort of practice style. And yeah, I go to Jersey, where I'm from, once a month, and I have a little community of horse owners, and I adjust them and their horses once a month, which is really nice. I do a few other bits and pieces on the side for fun and to learn, which I love. So yeah, that's me.
Amazing, man. I love all of that. And I don't know, obviously I didn't study at ACC, but I remember being back in college, we didn't really get taught a lot, if anything at all, about running a business, because there's a lot of students that don't necessarily want to be an associate as soon as they come out of education. They want to go on and just do their own thing. So what would be your advice to someone that is coming fresh out of school and they want to set up their own place?
Oh man, I would not give advice because I definitely don't know the ins and outs. I'm still young. I'm still learning. I would ask them
Sure.
questions for sure. I'd be like, what do you want to get out from what do you want to get out from these next 5 years, or this
Mm.
next 6 months, or this next 1 year? And most people, when it depends on the person, right? Some people, when they graduate, they want to focus really on technique. Like, oh, I really want to learn Gonstead and like have an X-ray and have a mentor to teach me that. So for that person, I definitely would not recommend like going out on your own, buying an X-ray machine and starting this practice with nothing. Like, then you're not going to learn Gonstead, like,
Yeah,
right?
no, of
So
course.
right. So I definitely would ask them, like, what do you want? Do you want technique? Do you want some form of mentorship that's like a personal or professional? For example, if you're doing, for example, professional might be like going to seminars and going to conferences and meeting other chiropractors, but it might be the kind of professional of like how to run a business and how to market and how to talk about your business and how to get fucking leads and how to follow up leads and all of that. And you'll find out what they're inspired by. And then I would sort of say, like, I keep going on that question, like, do they want to learn? Do they want to make money? Do they want to meet people? Do they want to chill and go on holiday? Chiropractic college is freaking tough, man. You can't nothing to know about being a business owner, especially the first year, maybe two. You can't freaking go on holidays. Like, you've got to build a practice. You
No.
don't even have
Yeah.
money, probably. Even like going to seminars and taking time off to do that, which you need to do just to fulfill GCC stuff, like that's time and money intensive. So I would say like only opening up your own business, you will learn shitloads, like of all the aspects, you will learn loads. But you've got to be ready for it. Well, actually, I don't know if I wasn't ready for it. It's more like ready or not, you've got a lot to do. You've got to do it. So I think if I could give any advice, it would be figure out what you want and then
I
set your
love that.
intention around it. That's intention, right? So either like think about it yourself or go on seminars where they help you learn or have a coach. I think coaching is really underrated, especially as chiropractors. There's so much you can learn. That, for example, when I left my jobs, I had only been in practice like 2 years, and I didn't know that much about being an associate or being like the bread and butter operational parts of being a chiropractor. So asking like clinical questions or how to communicate something, I didn't have that. So investing in a coach, like in my case, Tom Waller, not only did I get the business stuff and the personal stuff, but I could also bounce ideas off them, like, oh, a patient came in with XYZ. Like, do I need to write a GP letter for this, for example? Like these little questions that come up in your mind when you're associate. So you can also get those from investing in some form of coaching. And nowadays there's so many you can do that are like very affordable rates. For example, I know the Lines of Chiropractic are doing one where it's like a group coaching. That's where you get really good bread and butter stuff of how to be an associate and how to build a practice. And then you've got more like a practice owner type with like Tom Waller, who's sort of in the middle. And then you've got the sort of bigger business like How to Grow an Associate-Based Practice with like Ryan Ryder and his Inner Circle stuff. That all of that content, all the stuff, and all of those people are incredible what they do. And I think finding a way to invest in yourself, both personally and professionally, is really key for personal growth and development, because that personal growth and development, that allows you, it gives you the skills and the tools to do what you want. Because you might want the holidays and the money and whatever, but unless you have these skills, then you can't. Even if you have the intention, you need to act on those intentions. And if you don't have those skills, you can't get where you go to. So finding out your why, and then training or developing yourself both personally and professionally, and then just get on with it. Keep
Nice.
asking those questions, keep doing those things, and eventually you'll get what you want, and you'll go to places you want to be.
That's absolutely solid. That's just hit the nail on the head. One thing I love is that you're very much community based style chiropractor. I really like that. And what did you do to get out into the community? Like what do you set up? Like what's your plan? Like how do you get in contact with people?
Great. So I think first of all, the community aspect. I love community, and I've done a lot of work in crypto as well. And crypto, this is just a quick side note. Crypto,
Sure.
they're all about communities as well. They have solid community and like how to build communities there, like online communities and offline. And I saw what they were doing and how they were creating that. And then I was hearing that as well from people like Tom Waller, like how to create a community of people that like rave about you, that love about the practice, that love, because it's difficult, in my opinion, to like create a raving of community about people that love like chiropractic itself. Like you don't have patients that like patients that love the green books. You don't have communities of those. You might somewhere that's like all over the world, but not like in a niche area like Christchurch where I live. Not like a chiropractic club full of patients. Those are in your practice. Those guys, they don't know that they're following that, but you have to create that around your brand and have that personal relationship with them. So what I learned a lot from Tom Waller actually was this community stuff. And this is just doing all the little things that don't seem much on their own, but as a whole, create this amazing experience for the patient. For example, this is my standard. It's now, I've now systematized it so that, let's say a patient books in online, they found me on Google because they like my Google review or whatever. Call in, sorry, they book in online, they pay the money. I ring them the same day if I can. Hi, Julie. Thank you for booking in. I've just read your form. Sounds like you've got a bit of back pain. What made you want to book in? She'll say whatever. Okay, why did you choose info? And then she'll say whatever. And then I'll answer her questions and make sure that she feels heard and that she feels valued and that she's going to get what she's looking for by coming to see me in some way. And I'll find out what that is through that phone call, and then make sure she knows just like basic things, knows where to park, how much the parking is, those little things. And then she comes to the practice, do the normal day 1, day 2 stuff. Let's say she wants to sign up for care because she loved it and she sees the value in coming in the short, medium, long term, whatever her recommendations are. And then she comes in, she gets her first adjustment, and she goes home. Then the first thing we do is you need to call Julie. Hey, Julie, it's Dr. Robin. I'm just calling in, checking in on you after your first adjustment and to answer any questions you might have after day 1. I know that we went through a lot of stuff today. Just that courtesy call is massive for them. So that starts us off on the right foot. And then going forward, I'll have like, let's say you've booked them out for between 12 and 24 visits in advance for the next 6 to 12 weeks, whatever. Every sort of at least 12 visits, I'll do a progress check, but we'll do all the objective and subjective findings. And halfway in between each one, we'll do a little mini progress check. So I'll check in with her goals and maybe some of her objective findings every basically 6 visits, which is usually like every 2 to 8 weeks, let's say. I'll check in with those. So she's every couple of weeks and every couple of visits, she's getting checked in with both objectively and subjectively. So she remembers why she's here. She feels that she's heard, that I'm on the same page with her. I want what she wants, that sort of thing. And then as we go along, I'm updating this in a little spreadsheet that I have. And then on the, let's say the 18th or the 20th visit, she's going to get a postcard in the post from me in my Inflow branded envelope with some nice shiny gel pen that you buy from freaking Amazon for £3.
Yeah.
Dear Julie, really appreciate you. Something that I like about Julie. You're going to be getting back to picking up your grandchildren in no time. Send that in the post. She gets that in the post. Oh my God, amazing. No one does that. And
No.
then you add a lot of things, a phone call here and there, the gift for her birthday. When she signs up as a patient, I write in my diary, my Google Calendar, like her initials and her like on the birthday. So like my whole calendar's like
Nice.
full of like these initials and birthdays. And I'll go,
Yeah.
I'll send them a birthday card, or I'll call them if I can,
Perfect.
give them a gift, whatever, all these extra things to like make them feel comfortable and heard. My next
Yeah.
project is to give them an NFT. I don't know if you know what an NFT is, but an NFT is
I
basically
I think I'm too old for that, man, to be honest.
you wait. I'll probably be the first chiropractic practice to give NFTs as gifts, but that's coming in the pipeline.
Awesome.
And every certain thing, they'll get a little collectible, a digital collectible that they own using NFTs. Anyway, just the little things, man, to
Yeah.
make them feel heard, make them feel valued, something special that their GP isn't going to do.
Mm.
Like, right, just be different. And
Yeah.
that's what promotes
Absolutely.
community all the time.
I love that. Do you know what people really do appreciate? Like even just the little things, like a postcard, text, phone call, whichever it may be. It's a service which very few other professionals really provide. So I love that, man. You're doing awesome things. I love it. So Rob, with just the very little time that we have left, do you mind just letting people know where they can find you if they want to get in contact? What's your social media, etc.?
So my social media, if you go on Inflow, my chiropractic page is in underscore flow underscore Chiro, Inflow Chiro.